Red 2 standing by, all 4 lit and in the green. Welcome back to Bomberman 64. We are approaching the final stages. One more adventure stage to go, and then we have the true final battle. So what I'll do is I'll post-commentate over this level because it's a bit fiddly and it might take me a few tries to get it just right for the time. The gold cards are fairly easy to get. So without further ado, let us begin Dune Castle. The doors close and our final adventure stage begins. Welcome to Dune Castle, which is admittedly rather light on the whole Doom thing. But it is pretty heavy on frustration. Use the bomb jumping techniques we learned for Beyond the Clouds and we'll be fine. As we grab our first gold card, watch out for the pack of spade soldiers. These enemies shoot lasers that can destroy your bombs. 4 regular bombs will defeat them and they'll sometimes drop a power pickup. Don't pick it up unless you have no fire power-ups or you've already hit the switches because it makes it a bit easier getting all the enemies defeated, and there are gold cards 2 and 3 along with our remote bombs. They give you everything you need to clear this level pretty easily. And once you do actually figure out the tricks of this, it's relatively simple to get through. It's like what I was saying in the previous video. That idea that once you get the little tricks to the difficulty, working out how to do it, you feel much better. Yes, it can be incredibly frustrating, but when you do get that moment, the game should make you feel like you've genuinely accomplished something and you've become better at it. Not sort of a sense of, for heaven's sake, finally, why did that take so long? Now, I mean, sometimes those particular sentiments can wind up being concurrent. It can be frustrating, but you can also feel a great sense of achievement. That you've beaten an admittedly frustrating game, got through, and become better. I really do hope that most of the time you get a lot of satisfaction out of beating the games you play. Because for me, video games are mostly about having fun with things. I tend to subscribe to the manner of Satoru Iwata that games need to be fun. I wouldn't agree that that's their primary... wouldn't agree that that's all they need to be. That's what I'm trying to say. Sorry, lost it a little bit there. Games do need to be more than just fun. But fun should be an essential part of anything to do with video games as far as I'm concerned. Quite often we forget that. When we have opinions which are different to those around us, we have a horrible tendency, and by we I mean society in general. I'm guilty of it, you might be guilty of it sometimes even without knowing, but I'm not here to condemn you for it. I'm basically here to say that, well, you're better than you think you are. You don't have to give in to all the frustration and bitterness. Understand that both sides have a point, that playing a game casually is not necessarily a problem. Playing for fun is, well, it is fun. It's a way to relax. It's a way to enjoy things. Now, some people might complain about certain elements being added to their game. For example, you might complain about guest characters that don't quite fit into certain fighting games or something like that. Which we will actually get to discussing during the credits sequence. I'll focus on that because, admittedly, I'm nearly running out of time. I cleared this level very quickly and getting the 30 enemies killed gold card isn't too hard. There is an enemy we didn't see and I will get around to showing you that. So for now, allow me to pause the discussion and we'll complete the stage with 114 gold cards. Getting ever closer. And there we go. All we have to do now is get the gold card for defeating 30 enemies. Then we can go to the final boss fight. Now here's an enemy we didn't get to see in the main run, and that's the Heart Soldier. 3 bombs to take them out and they'll drop a heart on defeat. We have 115 gold cards. At long last, after all the deaths, after all the fiascos, it is time to save Planet Bomber. Sirius is going down. As a great man once said, When in doubt, C4. We have plenty of explosions with Sirius's name on them. Time to take him down. We've made it to the top of the Rainbow Palace, where the man who played us for a fool is waiting. The Omnicube sets up a new arena. It is time for the final battle. Now, the start of the fight is a bit problematic. You only have 10,000 on the clock to defeat Sirius. But that attack where he turns into his eagle form and sweeps across the screen with the laser takes him out of the fight for about 13 seconds. It's sort of a way of artificially inflating the difficulty of the fight because you can't hurt him during this time. We have to bounce him off the edge because we can't hurt him normally, but now he's ticked off. Thankfully, Regulus is still alive. And the Omnicube is destroyed. Now the real fight begins, and it's a doozy. You! Huh, what a joke. Hey, Bomb, I'll take care of you later. First, I need to get rid of him. Now we're into the really hard part, especially if you're going for all the gold cards. Time your actions against Sirius's laser to get the gold card for stunning him with a pumped bomb. You'll have to catch him in a pumped bomb explosion too. He also has a very bad habit of switching to one of his attacks which makes him invincible to avoid those. Regulus admittedly isn't much help. It's entirely possible for Sirius to take himself out during this fight. Oh, there we are, we actually did get it. So let's give him what for. And there we are. Sirius gets his much-deserved punishment. Perfectly pin-dropping through space and exploding. One of the all-important villain rules. Do not absorb too much power and explode. But after a little bit of frustration and somehow not getting the pump bomb damage gold card, in the previous run, we have beaten the game with 120 gold cards. Bomberman doesn't realise he's being lifted out of the way. Which makes sense because the Rainbow Palace just conveniently drops right through the top of Black Fortress's tower and explodes. Now this would probably cause a bit of damage to Planet Bomber. Note that the 4 areas captured are still there, free real estate. The 4 of us were barely able to steal the Omnicube from him. Yet you were able to defeat him. I must respect your abilities, but that doesn't change the fact that I dislike you. Someday you and I will settle this. Until then, take care of yourself. Did we see Regulus again? Well, in fairness, we did in Bomberman the second attack, where he came back under the name of Bolzeeb, but he was a good guy then. It's time for the credits sequence again. Now, I'm mainly showing the new images that pop up and a couple of outtakes along the way, so I'll continue my discussion from earlier. I apologise for boasting about the Gurgeist bit, but that's something I'm kind of proud of. But going back to the different ways of having fun in the games, we have a lot of people who don't really respect one another because of the different ways they play, the different attitudes they can have, and even different characters they like. It's a real pain if I'm going to be honest. Because on one hand, you have the hardcore crowd that sees the casual players as scrubs and noobs and ruining the game. And on the other hand, the people who want to play for fun see that pretty much everyone who plays seriously as cruel and obsessive gatekeepers who don't want to ruin the purity of their series. And thing is, the worst of both sides can make things really, really horrible for people, but you've got to look past that. Now, I've got into a lot of series through casual curiosity. I love the Fire Emblem series. I got into that because of Super Smash Bros. Brawl. I loved playing as Ike, and I wanted to play the games in which Ike appeared. They were tough to find. Radiant Dawn was the first Fire Emblem game I ever got to play, and I built on that. From there, I came to really love the series, and while I'm never going to be a super hardcore player, I enjoy a hell of a lot about it. And I appreciate the fact that there are some features that let people get into the game if they're not that experienced with turn-based strategy. I don't agree with everything that was done, but I like having the options because it means that more people can experience it. If people want to keep the so-called purity of their series, they may actually have to risk losing that series because it doesn't sell very well and it's impossible for people to get into. A lot of people do just play games for fun, so they do need to be acknowledged. Don't gear things too much towards beginners. That was admittedly a problem I had with Pokemon Sword and Shield. They felt like they didn't leave very much for veterans, but they were good entry points for beginners. Now, by the same token, don't disrespect the people who put a lot of work into playing games. There's some serious effort that goes into, say, doing a speed run or competitive Pokemon battling and things like that. There's a lot of hard work, a lot of dedication. It's not the most conventional approach to things, but if people are going to put their efforts into it, then I'm going to have a lot of respect for them. And speaking as a casual player, I have a lot of respect for somebody who can build a competitive Pokemon team, someone who knows all the complexities of a character in Super Smash Bros. Or could, say, speedrun a whole range of games. We basically have to coexist. We have to understand that while everybody's opinions will be different, we'll all like different characters, we'll all like different games, we'll all have different styles of playing. But really, come together right now over me. Sorry, just had to do that. But really, we do need to come together with the things that make us all the same. The fact we like video games. Build on those positives, the things that we have in common. Because if you hate everyone who's different from you, you'll eventually end up hating everyone, because nobody has the exact same beliefs as you. It's a quote from Seteth in Fire Emblem Three Houses, and it stuck with me. We really do need to make sure we try and understand as many people as we can in all fields. Now, if you're being a jerk and somebody calls you out, then you've probably earned it and you might have to go back and look at yourself. But don't be obnoxious just for the sake of it. Somebody who disagrees with you isn't necessarily being a jerk if they've phrased their argument very well. I'm probably talking from the perspective of a philosophy student. You have to be able to phrase your argument well. So if somebody can say to me, hey, I don't agree with what you're saying. Here are the reasons why I don't agree with you, but I do respect the way you've presented it. I'm going to say, okay, alright, I can respect your differences compared to mine. Thank you for presenting that in such a polite way. If people come at me with the usual internet vitriol, those anonymous keyboard heroes and things like that, then I'm going to tell them to get stuffed. But it's going to take a lot for me to do that because I would rather be civil to people. I'd rather learn about what makes people tick, learn about different things, and who knows, I might wind up discovering something I really enjoy. And that's been one of the important things. A lot of the games I've been playing, I've discovered by pure chance, and I'm really glad I've been able to play them. I'm really glad I've been able to share all these little projects with you, my small handful of loyal viewers. I hope you can understand what I'm saying. I hope you can go out there and spread a little bit of positivity in the world. I believe in all of you. I believe in the best of you, and I'm very grateful for having you around. Thank you for watching this project, though we're not quite done just yet. There's going to be more Bomberman coming up. So we will quickly head back into the main menu and go to our adventure file. After taking a little while, of course. So there we are, 120 gold cards. 2 hours 47 minutes. Not too shabby if I say so myself. This unlocks 2 sets of custom parts for us. We get one for completing the game with 120 gold cards. Let's head down to our head and take a look. We get the samurai parts for beating the game with 120 gold cards. We get the clown set for beating the game in under 3 hours. We will get the gold set if we beat the game with 120 gold cards under 3 hours. Now that is a pretty impressive task, but there is a little bonus that I will get to later on that will cover that. We will also, in the next episode, be getting the rest of our custom parts because we have quite a few to go. That said, I've got a pretty decent amount even though I said I wasn't going to grab the custom parts. Not too shabby. Anyway, I didn't have the dragon mail needed to make the legendary chicken man, and I don't have the drill arms. But I do have the iron goggles, the shogun kimono, the knight sword, and I think I might have used the iron sneakers or the high tops, but that is the iron sword, my custom Bomberman. Though I usually play as the black Bomberman. Now, this wraps things up for the time being. We can listen to music, we can change how we throw bombs, and that full power option down there will give us maximum power bombs with 8 to use. Holding the B button can control how far you throw a bomb, but I prefer the control stick. We can view the credits and listen to music, but for now I'm wrapping up. Thank you very much for joining me. We'll go custom part hunting next time. This is Red 2, returning to base.